You're watching Tag TV.
Good evening, welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Vishakha Ratan. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 25th of April. India-Mongolia agree to jointly fight militancy, build trade. Six police personnel killed in 3 suicide attacks in Balochistan. And first 4-nation transnational buses reach eastern India. And now for all the details. Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Wednesday held talks with Mongolian Prime Minister in Ulaanbaatar to boost bilateral ties between the two nations. During delegation-level talks, the foreign ministers of both the countries agreed to work closely in combating militancy and build trade. Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Wednesday met Mongolian Prime Minister U Khurelsukh in Ulaanbaatar to boost bilateral ties between the two nations. During delegation-level talks, both the sides discussed cooperation in mining, capacity building, IT, films and other areas of mutual interest. The Indian Foreign Minister was off to an early start on Wednesday to meet her Mongolian counterpart for the Joint Commission Committee meeting. Both the sides during the meeting discussed all aspects of bilateral relations, especially trade and investment, energy, mining, animal husbandry, education, capacity building and tourism.
We discussed some of the pressing global challenges facing the humanity, particularly the scourge of terrorism, and agreed to collaborate bilaterally and in international arena to ward off these evil and thwart the designs of those who extend support to terrorist outfits.
Early on Tuesday, Swaraj also paid her respects to the chief abbot of Mongolian Buddhism. She is the first Indian foreign minister to visit the resource-rich East Asian country in 42 years. She earlier visited China, where she went to participate in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization or SCO meeting and also held wide-ranging bilateral talks with the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. A court in India's western Jodhpur city on Wednesday jailed self-styled godman Asaram for life for raping a minor. 2 of his aides were also convicted and jailed for 20 years each, while 2 others were acquitted.
An Indian court on Wednesday jailed self-styled godman Asaram for life for raping a teenage girl. A judge delivered the guilty verdict at a jail in the city of Jodhpur in the western province of Rajasthan, where Asaram has been held since September 2013. 2 of his aides were also convicted and jailed for 20 years each, while 2 others were acquitted. India's Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act permits lifetime jail terms for sexual assault of children and was recently amended to allow the death penalty for the rape of girls under 12.
आसाराम को एक धार्मिक परिवेश में एक ऐसा घिनौना अपराध करने वाला अपराधी साबित करते हुए ये विस्तृत आदेश दिया है, जिसमें माननीय न्यायालय ने आसाराम को आजीवन टिल डेथ जो है कारावास की सजा सुनाई है.
Asaram Bapu, as he is known to his followers, has a large support base in India's Rajasthan, Haryana and Gujarat provinces. The 77-year-old has more than 400 hermitages around the world, according to his website. He is also facing a trial in India's Gujarat province for raping 2 sisters. His son Narayan Sai is also an accused in the case.
In news from Pakistan, an accountability court hearing assets accumulation reference against Pakistan's former finance minister Ishaq Dar on Wednesday ordered to make an already recorded statement of a prosecution witness part of the supplementary reference. During Wednesday's hearing, another prosecution witness also recorded his statement in the case. An accountability court in Islamabad has been hearing a corruption reference against Dar, who is accused of possessing assets beyond known sources of income. The reference against him was filed by the National Accountability Bureau or NAB in light of the Supreme Court's verdict in the Panama Papers case last year. The next hearing in the case is scheduled to be held on May 2nd. At least 6 policemen were killed and several wounded in 3 suicide bomb blasts that rocked Balochistan's Quetta city on Tuesday. No terror group has claimed responsibility for the attack so far. 3 suicide bombers attacked Pakistani police and paramilitary soldiers in the southwestern city of Quetta on Tuesday, killing 6 police and wounding 15 members of the security forces, officials said. Deputy Inspector General of Quetta Police said 2 suicide bombers attacked a paramilitary checkpoint in the Mian Hundi area, wounding 8 people. A second blast hit a police truck by another suspected suicide bomber. 6 police officers were killed and 7 were wounded in the attack, officials said. No one immediately claimed responsibility for the attacks.
और ये उसके बाद अभी हम उसके क्राइम सीन और उसी को डील कर रहे थे और उसके बाद फिर ये धमाका हुआ। ये हमारी जो है एक अपनी बीसी का ट्रक जो है अपनी ड्यूटी से जो नॉर्मल रूटीन की ड्यूटी के बाद वापस जा रहा था, उसको निशाना बनाया गया और इसमें भी हम सस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि ख़ुदकुश हो सकता है किसी मोटरसाइकिल पे या इस तरह। इसमें हमारे 6 लोग शहीद हुए हैं और 7 लोग इसमें ज़ख्मी हुए हैं।
Islamist militants linked to the Taliban, Al-Qaeda and Islamic State have been operating in Balochistan, which borders Iran as well as Afghanistan. It also has an indigenous ethnic Baloch insurgency fighting the central government. Moving on, a fresh spate of protests have erupted in illegally occupied Pakistan-administered Kashmir to demand that the Pakistan Army must stop cross-border firing. The protesters also demanded the prosecution of Pakistani policemen who passed orders to open fire on peaceful protesters on March 16.
Fresh protests have erupted across Pakistan-administered Kashmir as the Pakistan Army continues to violate the ceasefire agreement with India, resorting to heavy shelling and firing across the line of control. Condemning the fateful incident of March 16, when activist Naim Butt was killed by the Pakistan police, several activists in the illegally occupied region are now demanding the arrest of Butt's killers. They are also demanding that an impartial judicial probe into the incident.
और उसके साथ साथ जो 16 मार्च को यहाँ पर एक हमारे पुरअमन एहतजाजी मार्च पर डिस्ट्रिक्ट पुंछ की इंतज़ामिया ने और पुलिस ने जो है वो वहाँ पर दहशतगर्दी का मुजाहरा किया, हमारे साथियों पर गोलियाँ बरसाई, हमारे एक साथी नईम भट्ट शहीद हो गए, बेशुमार लोग ज़ख्मी हो गए। तो उन ज़ख्मियों को और शहदा के वारसों को जो है वो इंसाफ दिलाने के लिए और आज़ाद कश्मीर की हुकूमत जो है जो कातलों की और कातल इंतज़ामिया की पुष्टपनाही कर रही है और उसके ख़िलाफ़ भी हमारा ये एहतजाज है कि ज़िला पुंछ की जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है उसको फिलफौर बरतरफ किया जाए।
Activist Naim Butt was among thousands of people who had joined a protest on March 16 against the Pakistan Army to express solidarity with people suffering from cross-border shelling. They were protesting against police and army brutality, blaming Islamabad for ceasefire violations and deliberately provoking India for cross-border firing. They also blamed the Pakistan Army for using civilians as human shields.
In news from Afghanistan, at a time when civilians in Afghanistan are expressing concerns over the security situation around registration centers, the Independent Election Commission on Tuesday issued its first weekly report after launching the voter registration process on April 14. The report showed highest registration from Kabul city and Kandahar province. While low voter registration was observed after attacks on centers in Afghanistan, the Independent Election Commission or IEC's update for the first week of the process showed Kabul and Kandahar were the 2 leading provinces in terms of numbers of people who registered. The IEC on Tuesday issued its first weekly report after launching the voter registration process on April 14. According to the IEC, since the start of the process just over a week ago, more than 370,000 people have registered to vote in total. Election observers and monitoring groups have been blasting the poll body for not having rolled out a comprehensive election awareness campaign. Critics said the IEC's failure to conduct a such campaign and the absence of a voter registration database were indicative of poor leadership and mismanagement in the Election Commission. But the IEC on Monday said it will finalize the voter registration database within the next 2 days. 2 passenger buses on a trial run under a tri-nation agreement between India, Bangladesh and Nepal reached India's eastern Siliguri city on Wednesday. The trial run aims to enhance people-to-people connectivity among the neighbouring countries.
Two passenger buses on a trial run under a tri-nation agreement between India, Bangladesh and Nepal reached India's eastern Siliguri city on Wednesday. The two buses carrying 49 delegates from the 3 countries started its journey on April 23rd from Dhaka. The delegates will determine the real-time difficulties of using the route during the trial run. They will finally submit a report based on which a protocol agreement will be signed and eventually commercial bus service will be launched. The 2 buses will reach Nepal's capital Kathmandu on Thursday.
The objective of this agreement is to establish people-to-people connectivity. You know, we have bilateral agreements with Nepal, Bhutan or India even individually. But the 4 countries, among the SAARC countries, it was supposed to be a SAARC motor vehicle agreement. Since we couldn't do it, these 4 countries, we agreed and did this agreement. So under this agreement, basically, connectivity will be established.
We, on behalf of Government of India and Government of West Bengal, make arrangement for the reception of the delegates of Bangladesh, India and Nepal. It is a trial run programs of passenger vehicles in the route of Dhaka, Siliguri and Kathmandu.
The trial run aims to increase people-to-people connectivity among the neighbouring countries. The Bangladesh-Bhutan-India Nepal or PPIN Motor Vehicles Agreement was signed on June 15, 2015 in Bhutan. However, due to some ratification of the agreement did not happen from the side of Bhutan.
An Indian-origin Canadian girl has surrendered all elements of a householder life to adopt the life of a Jain monk in India's western Surat city. Jain monks vow to give up material possessions and any emotional bonds that affect their karmic account. An Indian-origin girl, Heta Shah, has sacrificed her comfortable life to become a Jain monk. Heta came to India's western Surat city all over from Canada to live the life of a monk. Dressed in traditional finery, Heta Shah reached her initiation ceremony accompanied with her family. She left with a tonsured head and simple white cloth wrapped around body with a stick in her hand. Jain monks presided over the ceremony, which was attended by hundreds. People jostled to get a glimpse of the new monk.
It's going to be a different feeling, but I'm really happy for her. It's a good achievement and I think she's going to do well.
I'm very happy about her. और जिस तरह से उसे मुश्किलें हटा के ये मार्ग पर चल रही है, उसके लिए बहुत ही उसने मेरा सर खड़ा कर दिया आज सूर्य समाज के सामने.
Jainism is an ancient religion whose central tenets are non-violence and love to all beings. Jain monks vow to give up material possessions and any emotional bonds that affect karma. Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
You're watching TAG TV.